How to make sense out of a market that doesn't seem to make sense at all. Let's face it, as a consumer in today's automobile market, it just doesn't seem to make sense. Inventory is low, prices are high, interest rates keep going up, and finance terms are longer than they have ever been. Payments are higher than they've ever been. Sales, at least on the retail side of things, are stagnant or slightly down. Yet used car prices are going higher with no end in sight. One has to think, how can that be? How is this possible? How can it continue? Well, let's go back to the root cause. The root cause was COVID and the initial shutdowns. Sales stopped overnight. Dealerships temporarily suddenly closed, manufacturers shut down factories, stopped production, and most importantly, canceled existing microchip orders. The chip manufacturers turned their production to higher profit margin new chips, and the potential for inventory shortages was born. Dealerships reopened, sales were much better than expected, and the manufacturers ran out of the chips that they needed because, well, they canceled those orders much too quickly. When demand suddenly outstripped supply, panic set in, and consumers decided to overpay for what was available out of the fear of missing out. Manufacturers and dealers saw an opportunity to make new cars more expensive, higher profit margin vehicles for a smaller segment of the well-heeled buyers who were still willing to buy the new cars. Less production meant less sales, producing fewer trade-ins, which caused used car supplies to dwindle, which resulted in skyrocketing retail prices. This happened in 2021, and it appears to be happening again today. So how do we make sense of this? How do we navigate this market? Conventional wisdom suggests to wait it out until the market reverts to historical norms. Perhaps, just perhaps, having spoken to the number of people that I have in the industry, perhaps conventional wisdom is wrong.
Pops, we are super excited. CarEdge Insurance, what is it? What do we need to know?
It's all your insurance needs in one place. Easy, simple, fast. Just give us some information, you get your quotes.
CarEdge.com/insurance.
Perhaps because of the 15 to 18 million new cars that were lost to production globally in the last 3 years, that it will be a decade or more before we revert back to historical norms. Perhaps with the push to EVs and all those cars lost from production, that both new and used car shortages will plague us for the next 7 to 10 years. And those shortages will continue to push prices higher as the demand for vehicles continues to increase. So today's prices, as high as they may be, are really, I'm starting to believe, the low point. Okay, moving forward, they're only going to get higher. Perhaps it is time to accept what we have seen over the past 3 years as the new normal, and will remain as normal for the next decade or so. I hate to say it, but it just seems to be that way. So perhaps it is just better to maintain what we presently have and to accept that when we replace our existing vehicles in the future, whether it be today, tomorrow, 5 years from now, it will be for much more higher prices spread over much longer terms. In other words, buy now or pay more later. I believe that would be the new normal, and that is the new normal. And everything is pointing towards that. And 20% of all car loans that people entered into in January and February were for 84-month terms. So we're spreading the terms to a longer period of time to make the payment more affordable. We're not lowering the prices of the vehicles to make them more affordable. We're extending the period of time it takes for people to pay it off to make it more affordable. There seems to be nothing on the horizon, as much as I would like there to be. There seems to be nothing on that horizon that would indicate that prices are really going to go down. I have tried over the past 3 years to use historical data, to use 43 years of living and breathing the automobile industry, having been in it all that time. But I must say, over these past 3 years, I've pretty much learned that what was normal no longer will be normal. What we've used as historical norms in the past and the way markets moved in the past doesn't seem to apply to what is happening today. And I think today is indicative of what the next 7 to 10 years will be. So as much as we have said, don't buy cars, I'm fearful that if you're in the market for a car and you need a car, and even though prices are inflated today, they'll be cheaper today than they will be tomorrow. I hate saying that. I hate admitting that perhaps, over the past 3 years, using all the knowledge that I had from the industry, that I could have perhaps been wrong. I think I might have been. I think I'm coming to the conclusion that seeing what we're seeing happening and what has been happening for the past 2.5 to 3 years, which has completely befuddled those who have spent any amount of time in this industry, is just what the new normal is going to be. There doesn't seem to be any downturn in the market in sight. Like I say, I hope I'm wrong. Unfortunately, I don't think I am. So how do you make sense of today's market that doesn't seem to make sense? Think of it as the low point instead of the high point. And think about buying today as opposed to buying tomorrow. That's how I see it. Don't know if I'm right or I'm wrong. After all, my crystal ball has always been kind of cloudy. But this time, I have a feeling I'm right. Thanks for listening.